What's up? My name's Genesis Lorraine and welcome to my channel. This is a video log of my journey from taking all of my business skills related to music, performance, teaching, and poetry and writing and art and learning how to transition it online. As a millennial, I grew up in a world where artists were kind of like relegated to these specific lanes. And as you got to know artists, your favorite pop stars or your favorite whomever, you understood that they were known for their one thing and everything else about them was tertiary. But the world of social media has really broken that down. And that's kind of a limiting belief that I've really come to grapple with these past couple of weeks, is figuring out how to be my whole self on the internet and not believing that I need to fragment pieces of myself and my art and my artistic identity in order to succeed online. My goal is to release this vlog once a week on Mondays. Now, I've been working on developing these skills for almost 2 years already. And I'm really just finally starting to get in the swing of scheduling my content and figure out which content I'm going to prioritize each week. But in order for me to get to that point, I really actually had to have a big career shift. So these past couple of months, I was actually working for a local club that was a full-time dueling piano bar. And even though I really felt like what I'm supposed to be doing right now is transitioning all of my skills online, this opportunity was too familiar and too easy for me to walk away from it. But you'll hear at the end of the story why it was ultimately a giant waste of time anyway. So back in July, I found out that a colleague was opening a piano bar nearby, and I was super excited for him, and I offered to show him some online marketing tips to help get him started. After I showed him and his business partner that, they approached me and said, well, we want you to do all of our marketing. This was in spite of me being very clear that social media is where I've learned my marketing skills. I could go so deep into this story, but I'm not going to right now. Basically, I came on board to do full-time social media marketing for them. Turns out they wanted a lot more than was in the contract. Then their entertainment director suddenly quit on them, and I was approached to take on that role as well, which is fine. It was actually really exciting because it seemed like an upwards career move for me. So I accepted that contract. So now suddenly I'm doing 2 full-time jobs in addition to being a piano bar entertainer there full-time. So essentially I was working overtime hours, putting in everything I got, and the business was failing because ultimately when you open a business, you need to be prepared that you're going to lose money for a long time. And these owners, I guess, weren't familiar with that fact, or what. It's neither here nor there. I don't need to analyze them. Suffice to say that it wasn't going well. But I had signed contracts, and so I was committed to doing my job, even though I felt like it wasn't going well, and I felt like I was supposed to be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. It should be to no one's surprise that the whole thing fell apart. I didn't tell this story to be like, oh, woe is me, they messed me up, Yeah, they did mess me up, but that's not really how it works, because ultimately I still chose something that was not in alignment with what I truly want to do and who I truly believe I'm supposed to manifest to be. Through that whole experience, I've been facing a series of limiting beliefs, mostly going back to the whole idea that I'm already too late to make it in my career. And if I really sit with that, I can really see that limiting belief, the seeds of it were planted when I was told that my dreams were silly way back in high school, and that a career could never be born of my passion. Joke's on them, there was no way I was ever going to be able to do anything else. I mean, I've been singing my whole life since I was in elementary school, preschool. I remember spinning around singing songs and liking the songs more than I liked playing with the other kids. Maybe a touch neurodivergent. Then when I was 18 and 19, I came in contact with a band leader who told me that because I wasn't famous by the age of 14, I was already too late to ever have success. Follow my career even further, I had a dance instructor, and I think I was 24, tell me that there was no point in me learning how to dance because I was already too old to ever make it on Broadway or do theater. Follow that even further, and I even had a singing therapist in Philadelphia when I was trying to work through what was actually a really minor vocal cord injury, tell me that I belonged in the community choir and that I didn't really have a chance at a career as a singer. Well, here I am. I've performed on stages all over the world and gotten standing ovations on almost every single one. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I am saying that to say that I've gotten validation every step of the way about the career and the dream that I've always had living inside of me. What has held me back is the limiting beliefs of I'm already too old, I shouldn't hope for too much, I shouldn't reach too far, I shouldn't push too much. And that club screwing me over has totally knocked those beliefs down, because at the end of the day, no one can give you what you really want except you. And that doesn't mean that you have to reach for this big, ambitious, out there goal. But it does mean that it's important to look for ways that you might be blaming your external circumstances for you making choices that actually are holding yourself back. What are some limiting beliefs that you're dealing with right now? Let me know in the comments, because as a new channel, I really am hoping that I can find a community of people who are dealing with similar things, and maybe we can work through them together. I've been reading this book by Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And I think what his theory ultimately boils down to is how to rewrite your self map. So if you think about a body map, we all have our body map inside of our mind. We know where our limbs are, whether or not we're looking at them, and we have a general sense of how much space we take up. Sometimes if our body map gets off kilter, it causes us problems. Like if we think we're bigger than we actually are, or smaller than we actually are, or if you've had an injury and you have to kind of relearn how to use your foot. I actually went through a lot of this when I had to completely relearn how to sing after a vocal cord injury a couple of years ago. But what this book is talking about is learning how to remap yourself more in alignment with who you really are and your ambitions. And I realized that having come up in a time when artists were presented to us in a way that was fragmented, the artist was known for the specific thing, and anything else to do with them was tertiary. It might have ended up in the tabloids, but they had that straight ahead product. Well, social media has changed all of that. And so breaking down the belief that I have to fragment myself in order to succeed in this space has been surprisingly probably the biggest battle I've fought within me so far. Because I know that I'm meant to teach. I know that that's part of who I am. I know that I'm meant to write songs and to tell my story, and I'm supposed to share that with people who need it or who want it. I mean, if you think about the most legendary musicians, Beethoven, Bach, Mozart, they were all teachers. And there's this limiting belief in the field that if you teach, it means that you're not that good of an artist. Well, that's complete bullshit. The truth is that most artists have no idea how to teach. But for those of us who do, we have a responsibility to pay our tradition forward and to give the gift of art to the next generation, because Lord knows the public schools ain't doing it. So this past month, I have put my all into starting my online school, opening it up for enrollment, which I don't have anyone enrolled yet, but I learned how to run meta ads, so we're doing that. And really allowing myself to swim through all of the creative ideas that I've had pent up over the years, and learning how to create content that people are going to like and is going to resonate with them. Because I'm not one of those people who thinks that, oh, well, if you're just making it for people to like it, then you're selling out your art. I don't think that's ultimately true. I think that good art resonates with people. And if your art's not resonating with people, maybe you're still in a phase where you're making selfish art. And that's okay. But just like selfishness in any other part of your life, it's not going to draw people towards you, and it's not going to go very far, because it's about you and not about other people. So what I have on the agenda this week is a couple of things. I would really like to make a video lesson on how singing can ultimately help you self-actualize, which I'll put on my other channel, The Vox Gym, or Lessons in the Key of G. If you're interested in that, I'll link it somewhere in this video. Maybe here. I also think I'm gonna let myself do some fan art because I'm so excited about Stranger Things coming out this week, and I have these ideas of how I can take monologues from my favorite shows and combine them with music from my favorite shows to try to bring through what I think is the most important lesson or the most important theme in the movie or in the show. I love theatrics, and there's no faster way to learn how to make the art that you want to make than by mimicking art that you already like. So I'm giving myself permission to do that. And of course, I'm going to be putting out new content that uses my original music as well. So if you're into that, definitely hit the subscribe button because I'd really love to know what you think of it. If you're into supporting me more closely, you can go to this link where I'm giving away free downloads of my original song, Identity Crisis. The song is essentially about everything that I'm talking about in these video logs, breaking through limiting beliefs, allowing myself to go from this fragmented self and being free to become my whole self again, which has been a whole ass process. So if you're into that, I'd really love it if you would subscribe. I'm in the infancy of building this channel and I've got a long way to go, but it's always happier with new friends. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you liked about this video or what you'd like to see in the next video log. My goal is to release these every Monday. So I'll see you next Monday. Bye!